of the Always Believe House. Oh, yesterday we learned about how to multiply exponents. Today we're going to continue that with more power. Today's lesson won't be as long because I don't have to introduce the concept of those exponents. So let's go into the lesson and the magical whiteboard appears and we're rocking and rolling. So let's look at number one. I'm going to go down the left side and do some of the odds for you. On number one, that 2 to the 0 turns into a 1, doesn't it? Anything to the 0 power is a 1. So this is going to turn into 2 to the 3rd times 1, which is going to be 8. Okay? Go down here to number 3. That negative 3 distributes, doesn't it? Okay, so we're going to have a negative 3 to negative 3. So I'm going to have 2 to the negative 3 times 2 to the negative 3 times 2 to the negative 9. Okay, remember, there's two ways to do this. We can add them or we switch all the negative exponents. So let's go through and add them up. So 2 to the negative 3 plus negative 3 plus negative 9. I need a negative here. You may have to type that into the calculator. If you do not do that math correctly, it is wrong. Okay, this is going to turn into 2 negative 3 minus 9, which is going to be negative 15. Okay, which is going to turn into 1 over 2 to the 15th, and I don't know 2 to the 15th. So we're going to go here, and we're going to punch, let's just punch in 2 caret negative 15, and we're going to get 1 over 32,768, so 32768. So 1 over 32768. Okay. The other way to do it is to go down here, draw your fraction bar. This goes to the bottom, this goes to the bottom, and the 2 to the 9th goes to the bottom. This turns into that, doesn't it? Because you're going to, all your exponents are positive and they're all on the bottom, so the 2 stays on the bottom. Remember, 2 to the negative 15 means all those 2's should not be in the numerator, they should be in the denominator. Don't care how you do it, okay? Go to number 9. Okay, on number 9, this is kind of tricky because there's 2 sets of exponents. So on number 9, I'm going to do the inside exponent first. So that negative 2 is going to get distributed here and here. So we're going to have parentheses, negative 1 times negative 2 is 2. Negative 2 times negative 4 is a positive 8. Then I have a4b to the negative 4 all to the cubed. Now then I got to take the 3 and distribute. So I'm going to do 3, 3, 3, and 3. I'm going to multiply all those, aren't I? So I'm going to end up with a to the 6, b to the 24, a to the 12, and b to the negative 12. Now then I'm going to go through and add up my exponents. So this is going to turn into a 6 plus 12, b 24 minus 12, which will be a 6 plus 12 is 18, and 24 minus 12 is 12, and it's going to be this in it. Notice I don't get any negative exponents, do I? If I did this the other way, I would draw a fraction bar, and all of the positive exponents would stay on top, and that b would go to the bottom with it. And I would still end up with this, wouldn't I? The b to the 24 is more, so it stays on the top. You do 24 minus 12 and get the 12. Okay, number 11. Okay, do you see a 0 power? I do. All of this right here turns into 1. So all I have is x to the 4th, y to the negative 3, and the y should end up on the bottom, right? So this right here is going to be the answer. Continuing on. Isn't this fun? Okay, now then on 13 we get fractions in here. This is where it starts getting a lot harder. So we got to get rid of this parentheses first. So we're going to do a 3, a 3, and a 3. We're going to rewrite the problem. So we have 3x cubed, and then 3 to the 3rd, x to the negative 6, y to the 6, over y, x to the negative 2. Now then, let's go through and group. Okay, I'm going to have 3. This is a 1, so I'm going to end up with 3. 1 plus 3 is 4. And I'm just going to do this. Then I'm going to have an x. Okay, and I have 3. This is tricky here. I have 3 plus a negative 6 minus a negative 2. Okay, and then I have a y, and then 6, and this is a y to the 1, minus 1. Notice there's 3 x's here, right? So I'm adding the top 2 exponents, but I'm subtracting that bottom one. Let me do this different right here, minus negative 2. Okay, now then I'm going to simplify. I'm going to get 3 to the 4th x. 3 minus 6 is negative 3, plus 2 is a negative 1, y to the 5. So this 3 to the 4th is 81. 81, the x goes to the bottom, the y stays on the top. Now then, let's go back and go from right here backwards. Draw a fraction bar. We're going to change all the exponents to positive. So I'm going to get, let's just do 1 plus 3 right here. I'm going to get 3 to the 4th, and then x to the 3 stays on top. The x to the 6 will go on the bottom. The y to the 6 will stay on the top. The x to the negative 2 will go to the top. And the y to the 1 will stay on the bottom. Notice right here, if I add up my x's, I'm going to get 81 x to the 5, y to the 6 over x to the 6, y to the 1. Okay, so if I'm right here, my 81, this should be an 81, my 81 stays on top. I have more y's on the top, so 6 minus 1 is the 5. And then 6 minus 5, I have 1 x on bottom, don't I? Okay, so this right here will end up the same as this. So however you want to get to it, this gets really tricky when you start getting this, okay? You've got to put that in a calculator if you're weak with your integers. Continuing on, let's go to 15. This is when it gets real tricky when you have this. Every single exponent is going to get multiplied by this too. But we got to get rid of this one first because we have a parentheses and a parentheses. Okay, so let's rewrite the problem. So we have 2u squared v to the negative 3 and a 2 out here. Then we have a u, and then we're going to have times 2 to the negative 2, u to the negative 4, v to the negative 6. So I multiplied all these by negative 2. Now then I'm going to distribute the 2. This gets really, really tricky. Every single exponent will get multiplied by 2. Okay, I'm going to draw a fraction bar. This is going to be 2 to the 4th, u to the 4th, v to the negative 6, u squared, 2 to the negative 4, u to the negative 8, and v to the negative 12. Okay? Now then let's go through this and simplify it. We're going to do it the long way first, okay? So write down your 2, and then I have a 4 minus a negative 4, don't I? My next letter is u. I got 4 on the top, and I'm going to subtract it from 2 and subtract it from negative 8. So I'm putting all my u exponents all together, aren't I? Then I have a v, and I got negative 6 minus negative 12. When you divide, you subtract the exponents. Notice I have this all on one line. Now I got to simplify my integers. So you need to type this into the calculator. So 4 minus a negative 4 is 8, so 2 to the 8th. 4 minus 2 is 2, minus a negative 8, that's plus 8, so 2 plus 8 is 10. So u to the 10, and then v, negative 6 plus 12 is a 6. And 2 to the 8th, let's get 2 to the 8th power. So 2 caret 8, 2 to the 8th power is 256. So this is going to be 256 u10 v6. Don't leave a number with an exponent. You're going to simplify that, okay? All of my exponents are positive in my answer, aren't they? Okay, the other way to do this is to take this right here and rewrite it with no negative exponents. So draw a fraction bar. The 2 to the 4 stays on the top. The u to the 4 stays on the top. The v to the 6 goes to the bottom. The u squared stays on the bottom. The 2 to the 4th goes to the top. The u to the 8 goes to the top. And the v to the 12 goes to the top. Now then, group up your like terms. Okay, you would have 2 to the 8th. You have 2 u's on top, so u to the 12th, v to the 12th, and then u squared v6. Okay, so what do I do right here? If I do 12 minus 2, let me put this in black. 12 minus 2 is my 10, and then 12 minus 6 is my 6, and then 2 to the 8 is a 256 in it. Okay, so whichever way you want to do this, work it out, okay? I'm doing it both ways every single time. And I'm going to do, let's do this one real quick. We'll do 2 more. Okay, so let's do 21. Oh, this is fun. Oh, you gotta love exponents, okay? So draw a fraction bar, and we're going to distribute this negative exponent. So we have 2 to the negative 1, y to the negative 1. Now then on this one, I got to do this first, don't I? So I'm going to draw parentheses, x to the 9, y to the negative 6. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. And then times 2x cubed y to the negative 1 all squared. So this 2 exponent goes here, 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 and here. Okay? Tricky, tricky stuff. I'm going to rewrite this. 2 to the first, or 2 to the negative 1, y to the negative 1, x to the 18, y to the negative 12, 2 squared, x 6, y to the negative 2. Now I'm going to go straight through and combine. Notice all of my x's are on the bottom, aren't they? Okay? So let's group all these up first. So we have 2 to the negative 1, y to the negative 1, and then 2 squared, x, 18 plus 6 is 24, and then negative 12 and negative 2 is a negative 14. So I have this, don't I? Okay? Okay, now then we can group them up. Okay, so we have 2, negative 1 minus 2, and then all of the x's are on the bottom. So y to the negative 1 minus negative 14, and then I'm going to keep my x to the 24 on the bottom. This is really, really tricky. Okay, so negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3, and then negative 1 plus 14 is a 13, all over x to the 24, and my 2's are going to end up on the bottom, aren't they? So I'm going to have y to the 13, 8, and x to the 24. It's a lot of work. Okay, now then let's go back and simplify it the other way. So I'm going to take this, move, and I'm just going to get rid of all of the negative exponents. So my 2 to the negative 1 will go to the bottom. My y to the 1 will go to the bottom. My x to the 18 will stay on the bottom. My y to the 12 will go to the top. My 2 to the squared will go to the top. My 8x to the 6 will stay on the bottom, and my y to the 2 will go to the top. So go through, get all of, now then group them up. Notice I went from here to here, and I got rid of all the negative exponents. Now then I'm going to group everything up. This is a lot of work here. So I'm going to have 2 squared, or 2 squared, and then y to the 14 over 2 to the 1, x to the 18, y to the 7. Okay? Is that right? Y to the 14. Did I do that right? 12, 2. Where did I get the 24 from? That should be a, wait. Oh, 8. 8, that's right, okay. Okay, so I have 24 x's on the bottom, that checks. And then 14 plus 2 is 14 minus 1 is 13, that checks. And then my 2 should end up, where's the 2 at though? Yeah, the 2 to the negative 1, hold on. This 2 squared should stay on the bottom, I'm sorry. So I'm going to end up with the 8 on the bottom. So this would end up with the same as this. Really tricky stuff. Kind of makes sense to get rid of all the negative exponents. That way you can simplify things, okay? Didn't explain that one real well, so go through and watch it again, okay, and you can get this. I won't give you one this complex on the test. I will not give you one this complex on the test. You may have to do, but 22 is about as hard as it'll get, okay? I'm not going to give you a parentheses inside of parentheses. Okay, lastly, let's do number 23. Okay, remember, this has a parentheses and a parentheses. I will not do this to you on a test, because this gets really, really tricky. Okay, So on this one right here, we're going to distribute the negative 2 first. So we're going to have 2 to the negative 2 into the 6. And then 2 in 3, in 2, all of the 2. Now then, that 2 exponent is going to get distributed to every single exponent. And then we're going to multiply. Okay, so 2 to the negative 4 into the 12 all over 2 squared, m 6 into the 4. Now then, I just like it quicker. I'm just going to get rid of all the negative exponents. So all we got to do is switch one exponent. So my n to the 12 stays on the top. My 2 squared, 2 to the 4th goes to the bottom. N squared, m6 into the 4. Notice I don't have any negative exponents, do I? So get rid of all the negative exponents. Now then, just group them. My n to the 12 will stay to the top. I got 2 plus 4. I got 6 2's on the bottom. I got 6 n's on the bottom. And I got 6 m's on the bottom. Now then, I have 12 and 6. I'm going to do 12 minus 6, aren't I? Okay, so I'm going to end up with n to the 6, 2 to the 6. Let's get 2 to the 6. I think that's 64. 2 caret 6. 2 to the 6 power is 64. So my 2 to the 6 turns into 64, and the m to the 6 stays on the bottom. Okay, to me it's a little bit easier to get rid of all the negative exponents. That way you're not doing all that integer arithmetic. Oh, remember I posted the key. I will not, this is about as hard as, like 22 is about as hard as I will give you on the test. So don't freak out on a problem like number 21. Okay? Make sure you can do something like 22. I'm not going to give you a parentheses inside of parentheses with those exponents. Okay? Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Remember, I have posted the key to this. So make sure you're going into Canvas. Look at the key. See if you can match these up. I'm not going to give this, it's not going to be really hard on a test. You'll see what the problems on the quiz look like. The quiz will be test-like, okay? So these won't get that difficult. I'm just trying to get you to the next level here. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Remember, you are amazing. You are created to do wonderful things, and you are awesome.